Everybody, and welcome to the third and final in the Auckland International breakfast session. Today will be something I think you'll all very much enjoy, and my name is Mark Fruit. I'm the International Market Development Manager at Auckland Airport. Just want to reflect really on the last 3 days. So we had Pavel speak to us on Monday, not only reminding us really not to have 11 different combinations of clothing and it may take you 76 years to dress yourself in the morning, but that we need to sometimes just pull our head out of the everyday business that we do because it's so busy and really have a look at, if we can, and see what's coming. Yesterday we looked at the wonderful world of Weibo with Ken, and as Spock once said to James T. Kirk, there's life here, Jim, but not as we know it. We're actually starting to understand the Weibo and what's going on in that market. What I'd like to do today is introduce Dave Chalkin from Volcanic in Indonesia, and we're going to talk about some social media we're a little bit more familiar with, or we understand. Facebook and Twitter. Jakarta, you might not know, but Jakarta is the #1 city in the world for Twitter users, some 10 million users, but also there's 17 million Facebook users. And I'm just going to leave it at that, and a big warm welcome to Dave and Kama here, and I hope you enjoy this morning, enjoy breakfast, and we'll see you at the end of it. Thanks.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Kia ora. Thank you very much for coming this morning. I know there were a few events and functions last night, so thank you for getting up this early, and respect to you guys for being able to fire up and then back up the next day. This morning I just really want to talk about 3 key topics, obviously, of the Auckland Airport's breakfast series. Indonesia, Malaysia, and India. I could actually spend a full day speaking on each of the markets, so I'm going to try and condense it down to 1 hour for 3, so bear with me. I do want to keep this rather exciting and fun so that you guys don't fall asleep. Just a quick background about myself. We're actually, I don't really like being called a social media expert. It's really just about the content that we all generate and the ability to communicate. That's the 2 key words I'd like to take away from today. We're actually a word-of-mouth marketing consulting firm. So we actually do business audits. We do strategic workshops within company organizations to be able to understand that social media is not the domain of marketing and never will be. It actually crosses all spectrums of every company organization. So this is from Nielsen himself. If you can't trust Nielsen, who can you trust, right? I say that tongue-in-cheek, but we're a word-of-mouth marketing, as I mentioned. Our CEO founded the company 7 years ago, and I just learned today that it's YouTube's 8-year birthday. So it kind of gives you the impression that technology, as we know it, is speeding up at such a fast pace. And they have over 72 hours of video uploaded every single minute. It is an amazing statistic. The facts, the figures, they're just huge. And sometimes it's really hard to digest such volumes of conversation and such volumes of information that's been constantly uploaded into this wonderful thing we call the internet. So I always try and break it down as simplified as possible. As you can see, we've won awards. We do lots of stuff across the Southeast Asia market. Some of our clients here, as you can see, include MNCs, various different categories, various different sections of most industries. So that's enough about us. Really want to jump into the landscape of the 3 markets, so you can kind of get a little bit of a background idea and understanding of the potential, the opportunity, and then hopefully we can start discussing how to execute in those opportunity markets. So as you can see here, the world has a pie chart. 44.8% of all internet users in the world are in the Asia-Pacific region. Actually, not even the Asia-Pacific, just the Asia region itself. So as you can see, the opportunity is there. They are highly socially connected. They are almost always on. Always on, obviously an indicator towards the ability to constantly communicate, constantly upload, constantly download. The internet connections there are fairly fast. It's very similar to here. Some markets obviously faster than others. So because of those numbers, we want to now dissect it slightly lower into the 3 key markets. And this is internet users based on India, Indonesia, and Malaysia. And as you can see, Malaysia there's probably the highest of the penetration rates at 61%, 17 odd million people online. India at 121 million people connected, 10% however. And Indonesia at about 22%. Now these numbers obviously reflect IP addresses. This is not actually the actual physical number of people that are online. So in the industry itself, it is always a very, very difficult thing when someone says to me, how many people are connected? The truth of the answer is we don't really know. What we do know is Internet Protocol addresses, which represents 1 physical machine, or you might be in a company, for example. A company like IBM, for example, usually is connected through one IP address, but you might have 15 computers or 150 computers. The same thing applies in the emerging markets. At the moment, what we're seeing is that shared internet access is the key point of access, which means think about iCafes, internet cafes. You have one IP address, you have maybe 5 machines, and you have 50 visitors throughout the day. So how many people are actually online, we don't know, but we tend to track by the lowest common denominator, and that is Internet Protocol addresses. Then what we look at is mobile users, okay, and the connectivity of devices that allows you to then obviously get online in a much, I guess, simpler format. And what we're seeing here is that most of these markets now have a huge penetration regarding to mobile. And every year, more and more smartphones are being sold, and some of the old 2G networks are being phased out, which means that the ability now to connect is going to skyrocket. And most people will be accessing the internet via a screen this large. So if you haven't built for your mobile, if you haven't built your website for a mobile screen or a tablet screen, now's the time to start thinking about it. As you can see here are 34.5 million, more phones than people already. In India, 934 million. And in Indonesia, already 269 million mobiles. So 2 of the 3 markets have already got more mobiles in that market than people. So you can see that the potential there, all of a sudden, for everyone to go online is absolutely fantastic. And we look at Facebook accounts. You can see Malaysia currently with 13 million, India with 62.9 million, and Indonesia with 47.1 million. These are monthly active users. Facebook does not count someone if they're not actually logging in more than once a month, which obviously gets rid of all the fake accounts, all the bot accounts, all the cheat accounts. So these are actual people with Facebook accounts. Twitter, as Mark mentioned before, in Malaysia we have 2 million presently, 16 million in Malaysia, and 29 million in Indonesia. So as you know, Twitter is a micro-blogging platform, and Facebook is a slightly more complete platform. And as Mark mentioned, Jakarta, as you can see, the #1 city in regards to number of posted tweets on a day-to-day basis with, what's that? Several million anyway. The idea is that you can see that #1 and #6 are both Indonesian cities. So 2 out of the top 10 are in Indonesia itself. It has been adopted at a crazy pace. There are a few reasons for that adoption. Most recently, the telcos have all been offering free Twitter. And with free Twitter, why would I SMS? Of course, so there's been a constant growth, and a spiral of that growth has been adoption based on the fact that the telcos are offering free device usage. So that's just a little bit about, I guess, a quick summary of the background of the potential. I want to talk a little bit now about the social media side of things and how, in the traditional marketing pyramid, at the top we have the awareness, we have the consideration, and we have the conversions. And this, extends to out-of-home, print, TV, radio. What we're finding is that now, with the onset of digital and social specifically, the ability to create another layer in between that traditional funnel, the traditional pyramid. And the idea here is that engagement now plays a massive part. Engagement is a simple concept. It's one-to-one. Do you remember the days before sort of mass media and mass manufacturing? It was all about personal recommendation. It was all about a small marketplace whereby a little town and you had one butcher and one tailor, and it was all about going down and getting that personalized one-on-one service. Now, when we talk about massive numbers like millions of people and people coming in on massive jumbo jets, and our tourism domestic market is thousands and thousands, sometimes we forget that every single one of those people are actually individuals, and they require that one-on-one service. And that is really what social media is. It's about allocating internal resource, internal budget, and being able to communicate as if they were your one and only customer. And that, in turn, is one of the main key reasons why people are now driving social media. This is a chart done by a study done by Buddy Media. And you can see that the highest number here on the far left, 80%, is actually the reason why people are going into social media is purely because they want to increase the reach, content, and brand awareness. But I don't think that's the main reason. I actually think that's slightly wrong. You can actually see that the very last reason why most people are going online, the far right there, is more efficient customer service. I think that should be the number one reason why you're going into social. So it's a little bit backwards. Some of the traditional marketing specialists and some of the brand managers, I think, are getting it wrong. I think you should be there to basically work with your customers one-on-one. And what role does it play in regards to content and communications? Here we have a very simple sort of flow chart, I guess. When we look at, this is an approximate number, so when we look at the number of people that are online, 90% of them will digest your content without commenting, without sharing, without talking, without saying a single thing, without even liking it. They will simply see the content, read it, and then they'll move on to something else. However, there are 9% of us who actually actively participate within the brand. And we will like something, we will add a couple of comments, we will share that information with other people. And as you can see, these are the connectors, the customizers, and the commentators. And then you have the 1%. A lot of people call them key opinion leaders or influencers. And these are the people that will actually go out and generate the content, which in turn gives you valuable opportunity to turn that content either into advertising or obviously publish it onto your page. So every part of that 19, 9, and 1 is critical in order to be able to successfully operate a strategy. A lot of people ask me, why shouldn't I just open up a website? Why is Facebook more valuable than simply my own media, www.mybrand.com? And for the past 10 years, without a doubt, that has been valuable. The digital growth across the world has meant that there are now literally millions of websites. And that can be a little bit fragmented across different medias. So along comes Facebook, and all of a sudden Facebook, I read an article a couple of years ago that said Facebook is eating the internet. More people now go to Facebook than the rest of the web. And there's a very simple few reasons for that. And one of them, I believe, is it's the minute you acquire a fan, the fan is basically saying to you that I give you permission to remarket to me. You can come back to my wall and you can continue to populate my newsfeed. I'm giving you that permission. Banner ads, full page takeovers, YouTube pop-ups, they're kind of interruption marketing. It's kind of like poking someone in the face and saying, hey, listen to me, listen to me. So that's one of the reasons. Acquiring a fan can also help with the retargeting and the optimization of data, the collection of that data, and then the usage and storage of that data for future marketing campaigns. It's a very, very good CRM platform, and for those people that are interested in taking it beyond fans, Ken mentioned some stuff yesterday, and of course we do a lot of stuff in the Southeast Asia market as well with regards to big data, CRM storage, and the usage of that data. The other thing is the website is anonymous. I used to work for Yahoo, and so I know that when you drive a click to someone else's website, we can't tell you who that is. We simply give you a unique user, a one-off person who might bounce after 10 seconds or who might never come back again. And from your own internal point of view, of course, you have things like Google Analytics, so you can look at your website and you can see, but you don't know who that is, really. Google and Yahoo are now playing around with tracking cookies and beta tags and sort of just leaving stuff on your machines that can kind of follow you around. A little bit scary, but for those that know, it's a great opportunity to retarget. But a Facebook fan can actually start to be identified based on their behaviors, their likes, who their friends are, and how socially influential they are as well. So that's another value. And I must say that they all do play a different role. I'm not saying that the banner ad is bad or search engine marketing is not necessary. These are all components of a strong digital strategy. You need to have your own media, which is your own website, your own mobile portal. You need to have your own earned media, which is your social, your Facebook, Twitter, etc. And of course, you do need to have paid media as well. You need to have a strong strategy that can link all three of those. This comes back to this whole thing again. What is trust? What is a good brand? What are some people doing that work and some people doing that doesn't work? And Nielsen continues to put out these annual reports that are showing now that 92% of all people trust recommendations from friends or family. The same number for TV advertising is 14%. So people just unfortunately aren't buying into what we're saying in the traditional media sense anymore. People are going online to research, and when they research, they tend to follow the information from recommendations from friends and family. So if if all your money is going into your traditional ATL stuff and you're not really focusing on the word of mouth potential, then a lot of people aren't really listening to what you have to say. This is a nice little slide from WeGo, one of our partners in Indonesia. he did a couple of little bits to really sort of identify how the browser is moving through the consideration funnel. And here on the left here we have the pick the destination, and that's driven primarily by social influence. And then in the middle you have the planning stage, which is, I am committing to making a plan, so I will use Google, I will search, I will find out more information that's relevant to me. The third phase across is the on trip itself. Now while I'm at the destination, I will share this through, as you can see, Instagram, the Twitter, through Yahoo, through all these different platforms, and I will share my experience with my friends in my home destination. And then post-trip, it's the same thing again. I come back, I have a thumb drive, I upload that, I post all my photos onto Facebook, I then share, I might write a blog, etc. So the entire purchase, the entire sales funnel always has some sort of social and digital component all the way through. And if you don't think that's true, how many times do you guys share photos? Right? I mean, think about your own behaviors sometimes. Do you actually use these platforms yourselves? This is just another slide to demonstrate that between the changes of about 20-odd years, what we're going to see here is that Indonesia and India are going to be the leaders in regards to social media frequent usage during travel. At the moment, Indonesia actually leads with over 50% of all travelers using some form of social media during their travel. So, and this is research done by Frost and Sullivan last year. What Ken said yesterday I thought was really fantastic in regards to getting Sky City on board to offer free Wi-Fi in the lobby. I've been pushing Auckland Airport to do that from last year's trends actually as well. So as soon as you get off the plane, you can check in and you can say, I've arrived. Or working with a telco like Vodafone and Telecom to offer sort of visitors, a free 30-day access to the internet to be able to post this information, funded by Tourism New Zealand, of course. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. It's true. Because these are some of my friends, work for Google and a couple of other media publishers as well. They went to the United States straight away, as you can see here, arrived in Las Vegas. That's the first thing she did when she landed. And this is Path. This is one of the up-and-coming sort of social platforms in Indonesia at the moment. 73 people like that. Now, Path is a restriction of only 150 friends. You can't have more than 150 friends on your Path account. So 73 of them, half of them, are instantly connected with her, which means that she is obviously one of the key influencers. And here she is arriving at Las Vegas, then she's staying at the Venetian Suites, and as soon as she gets to the hotel, she posts a photo of it. The guy on the far right, you can see at the top here, he says, arrived at Los Angeles International Airport. When Indonesians are traveling, they love to tell people about it. They absolutely love to. And it's not just the Indonesian behavior, this is the entire Asian behavior. And on that note, this is a video, a comedy video done by a Singaporean, so a nice little quick 3-minute video. They do like to take the mickey out of themselves, so it's quite cool, it's quite funny. If you just want to play that video, please. No, go back one. There you go. If you can see that very well with the light, but Hope you can. And see if you can find any of these poses, because I see them all the time.
Wait, take picture first. Okay.
And then you Instagram.
Baby, choose filter for me. You know which one to use. I mean, choose filter.
Okay, that's pretty much it. You can move to the next slide, please. So again, just a Singaporean comedian taking the mickey out of themselves and their current online behaviors, but it's so true. Like, I see some crazy random people uploading Instagram pictures, and they're always on. They are literally always connected. They are always sharing. Everything they do is about expressing themselves to their networks of friends. So I want to delve a little bit deeper now into more data. I don't want to try and put you to sleep, but again, I could spend all day on each of these markets. I've tried to take some of the key points from each market. 21% of internet users access the internet from a mobile device in Malaysia. You have the average netizen spends 19.8 hours per week on the internet versus only 10.6 hours watching TV. So that gives you an indication of how screens are switching sides from the big to the little. 41 million hours watched online each month, videos. 90% of internet users access social media sites. 82% in the last year have bought a flight online. This is from Visa. This is a little quick breakdown of the social media accounts in regards to demographics. I can sort of just, you probably can't see too much, but the 35 to 44 age group represents 1.5 million. The 25 to 34 age group represents 3.7 million people. And these are Facebook account holders. What Malaysian users buy online? First is travel. 41%, and this is a travel category, so it combines hotels, flights, and holidays, both domestic and international.